Section 3 of Chapter 10 deals with earthquake hazards. Earthquake hazards includes ground shaking, liquefaction, and we'll get into what liquefaction is in a minute, aftershocks, fires, and tsunamis. Damage and loss of life can be minimized through use of building codes. And what that entails is don't build a building in an earthquake-prone zone. This is an example of an earthquake where they built in an earthquake-prone zone. Long-term predictions about earthquakes help people decide how and where to implement building codes and emergency services. Earthquake risk, you can see in northern Wisconsin, Green Bay. We don't have, in Green Bay here, we have a very low earthquake risk. But again, if you look at Hawaii, the island of Hawaii, they have a very high earthquake risk. Okay. Southern Alaska, same thing. The Aleutian Islands here are all along a fault zone where that ground is going to move. But here in Green Bay, Wisconsin, very low. This is that New Madrid area that I've often talked about that is very prone to, well, not very prone, but there have been earthquakes in the past, and this zone is responsible for the earthquake that we even felt in Washington, D.C. And again, you can see kind of a slight risk here in northern Illinois. This area is not necessarily riddled with, but there are faults or cracks in that area that are prone often to earthquake action and earthquake damage. The vocab for Section 3, liquefaction. I talked about it in class a little bit. Temporary state in which loose soil and rock material take on a property of a liquid, often as a result of severe ground shaking. The ground will actually tend to take on the characteristics of a liquid or liquefy and will move very easily. Next term, aftershock. Of course, you should all be aware of what an aftershock is, a smaller earthquake that follows a larger earthquake. Oftentimes, this can cause the most damage because people will go back into an area after the initial shock and begin cleaning up or whatever, and an aftershock will occur and knock the rest of the building down or kill the people. A tsunami, a large ocean wave that results from an underwater earthquake, landslide, or volcanic eruption. Seismic gap is an area along a seismically active fault where no earthquake activity has occurred over a long period of time. There are actually seismic gaps in the San Andreas Fault where they may have an earthquake to the south or to the north, but that area is in a gap and doesn't receive the damage or the effects of an earthquake. This will conclude the lecture notes for Section 3 of Chapter 10.